Hi, we have Hema Mani ma'am with us. Hi ma'am.
Hi.
So we are from Youth HR Club. We take various career journeys of people, take a video and ask about what great things that they do, so that people can learn from their life journeys. So we would like to know about your life journey. How did you start everything, and you could tell about your life.
Well, in front of many lives, mine has been a very normal life. I'm from a middle class family, born and brought up in Bangalore, a single child to parents. Up until class 10, what I remember is a very introverted childhood. Possibly no participation activities. I was an average student, got good marks, and that kept my family happy. But somebody with no aspirations until class 10. But class 10 is when I remember when I had a small incident in the family when my father was ill, and being the only child, a sudden realization dawned on me that I need to be more responsible, more focused, and provide that required security to my parents. And there was a mind shift change. So since then, there's been no looking back. I finished class 10, moved into graduation, and there I met my mentor, who is today my mentor for life, Dr. Gururaj Karjagi, who made a significant impact on my life. It's through his motivation I participated in possibly all formats of activities in the college. I was part of the cultural team called Kala Darshini. We ran a bank in the college. I was part of the debating club, the elocution club. And towards the end of the final year, I found myself to be the vice president of the Students' Union. Completing the college is always a cusp for any individual. You're always thinking of career choices, and there are many career choices that you can make. Finance was one, marketing was another. My family wanted me to do something towards either finance. I chose to do an MBA. I went to Xavier Institute of Management, pursued my MBA program from there, and mastered in human resources. I was under the able guidance of Professor Philip there, who was the founder director of Zion. And through him I learned a lot, and I decided to pursue my career in HR. It's 20 years of my career, and a very, very rich career, I would say, full of experiences, full of lessons that I have learned.
You told that you were introvert and then you got into an extrovert because of your mentors. Now, is it an imbibed quality for individuals, or it's a choice that they make? What do you feel? For people, is a choice, or
it's a very, very good question. In fact, I've asked this myself because today I'm a parent of 2 kids. If I look back, I think it's a decision we take for ourselves. It is something we decide whether we choose to come out of our shell or whether we continue to remain comfortable in our shell. As I told you, the first 12 years practically was a very protected environment. I was very comfortable where I was, and I realized I cannot be comfortable. If I had to make my mark, I had to go step out there and show the world my potential. And I think that's a kind of a promise I made to myself, and I haven't looked back. So I think it's more it's a quality that we can change.
So ma'am, can you share about your career journey? How did you move from PricewaterhouseCoopers? How easy was for you to crack that interview?
Yeah, I must share this. The interview process was very unique in Pricewaterhouse. I did one round of typical HR interview by one of the seniors there. And the second thing they did was they asked me to write a paper on how I thought the role would evolve. It was a first of the kind of role that they had created. They did not have a HR generalist who was supporting all the auditors and all the advisors and the consultants. So that was the first role. So they asked me to create an approach paper on how I visualize the role and what are the things I would do as part of the role. That was a very interesting way of reaching out to candidates and knowing the candidate's mind, which even today I pursue.
What were your few career decisions that had helped you to move on to the next level?
No, I have never planned my career, to be very honest with you. Each of my changes have been more like a water flowing across the river. One found its way into the other. I moved out of PWC mainly because I needed some time with my son, who was just a year old at that point of time. After which I did some freelancing. And then when I moved back into corporate, I took the route of teaching. I was with Jain Group of Institutions. I taught there for a while, and then moved into the corporate because I got a corporate opportunity, and that's where I think my real potential lies. My real
So how did you build skill set at each of these levels? How did you find, hey, this is my strength and I'll be good doing this? Or if you were not good at something, how did you overcome those problems?
I always knew I was good in teaching and I wanted to be a good teacher. As I told you, in the college I participated in debates and elocutions, so therefore I was known to be a fairly good speaker. And I loved the fact that if I were to share my knowledge, people liked it, people understood it, and reading was a great habit which I continue to take. So teaching is something that I think is a very valuable skill that I have. And I continue even today. So that's one skill that I picked up over the time. The rest of the HR functional skills just came with each of my jobs. Each of my job taught me something unique, taught me something that took me to the next level of job. So from I2, I picked up the ability to manage large groups of employees and have also a knowledge base on all the HR systems, which I took to Honeywell. Honeywell was in fact one of my dream companies, and I got an opportunity to work there. Extremely high caliber HR talent, and the kind of knowledge that I gained there, right from understanding the business HR partnering in its truest sense, was from Honeywell. And to now in Lennox, India, where I play a much more strategic role. My role cuts across HR and admin, and it's a much wider portfolio, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. So each of these roles have actually been training grounds for my next roles in the organization.
A few great learnings that you had learned over a period of time in these organizations that you had worked.
Several things actually. I mean, 20 years is a long time, and one learns from every step of the way. I learned about teamwork from places like Honeywell, where we were a 35-member HR team. It was so important that we collaborated very well, very effectively with each other. I learned that networking was an important skill, especially if you're working in large organizations. If you're part of a large organization, just knowing the right people is important. So networking becomes a very important aspect. I learned that your basic value systems have to be strong, whether it is your ethics, your principle for ethics, your principle for integrity, and your high value for excellence is very important. Excellence is what drives you all along the way. It takes you to higher roles in the organization. But for a young graduate who is probably looking out to make his first co-host career, what I would say is your ability to be proactive and your ability to jump into activities. Volunteerism, your ability to volunteer yourself out into activities is a very, very key skill that gets you noticed, that gets you, that puts you in the radar, and where people are able to, see you and provide you more opportunities, and those opportunities allow you to grow in the organization. There is a concept called as PI, which stands for performance, it stands for initiative, and it stands for excitement. PI, performance, initiative, and excitement. If you have these three characteristics all along your way, one is your performance, two is your initiative, your drive, your ability, your volunteerism, and the excitement that you continue to show. Your excitement determines your engagement. So if you have these three characteristics, they take you a long way in your career.
Key critical decisions in your career. You had also moved to an college for a reason. I think that was again which had helped you in a longer way. But how did you update your skills in that time gap?
No place like a college where you can upgrade your skills. That's the place where you get the maximum time devoted to upgrading your skills. Well, my decisions have largely been driven around my family. I'm extremely career focused. I enjoy my profession, but at the same time I'm equally passionate about my family, and that comes number one. I mean, if there is a decision revolving around family, I would place family first. For instance, I enjoyed working with Honeywell. It was a great place that I belonged to. It gave me the right opportunities. But the family decided to move to Chennai, and I couldn't be very selfish saying I wouldn't move. So I chose to move from Bangalore to Chennai to be part of a newer organization. And yet another very nice milestone at Lennox India too. So coming back, for me, all my decision and all my drivers have been revolving around family, and those have created those career decisions that I have taken.
Okay. What were a few mistakes that you had made in last few years, and what were your learnings out of it?
Mistakes are many, some which cannot go on record, but one learns through all those mistakes. I have made small errors as I grew through my career. Messed up with Excel sheets, messed up with PowerPoints. These are smaller ones which get pardoned very easily. I don't remember a very big mistake that I made in my career. There was an organization whose value system did not match with mine. And that was, when I look back now, it didn't seem like a mistake then, but when I look back now, it certainly appears like a mistake. I would never ever choose an organization based on the brand again. I will only choose an organization based on the people that I work with.
So how do you do a homework of knowing about the people or knowing about what is the organization before you get into it? So that's going to be again.
Yeah, that's a very tricky question. You're right in parts. It's very difficult to know the people in an interview. But these days, in many companies, and likewise in Lennox India, where there's an opportunity for multiple rounds of interviews, you're actually interacting with multiple people. So while you're interviewing with them, also assess to yourself, are you enjoying being with these people? Are you enjoying talking to these people? Are you enjoying the environment that you're around? If the answers are yes, then you probably are, in an organization that is matching with your value systems. If you're getting stressed, then that's probably not the organization that you want to be with.
So what is your routine which has made you fit and comfortable to things around you?
Okay. So number one, waking up very early. I wake up at 5 in the morning. That's my regular routine. Finish off the first batch of cooking for the day. And the kids are out into the schools for around 7:45. And then I do an hour of yoga. That helps me de-stress. I used to do a mixed bag of things, but something related to fitness, either walking or hitting the gym, or these days it's yoga. That's for about an hour. And then I'm at work. I spend about 10 to 12 hours at work with my various meetings and discussions. Since I work in a US-based multinational, there's a lot of times when we have to confluence over phones and calls towards late evenings here. But what I do is I try to organize that and make sure my calls are taken from my house so that I'm in the presence of my children to be back home by then. Spend a little bit of time around their assignments for the day or their projects for the day, or just help them prepare for their next day. And then I wind up around 10 in the night, do some reading. I read all kinds of books, and I think reading is what has evolved me over these years. It's matured me, it's changed my way of communication, it's changed the way I've been thinking. So.
And how did your parents or the circumstances influenced you as an individual? And what do you think a good parent can do?
Wonderful. I think I've been blessed with one of the wonderful set of parents. My mother was a very devoted lady to her home, to her role, to her responsibilities, and she taught me a lot about just being persistent. The kind of conscientious I have today, my punctuality be it, or my organization skills be it, my ability to keep my home neat and clean. The way I take care of my kids today, I owe a lot to her, and she's the one who's really, without teaching me, has taught me a lot. She's taught me the value of mutually respecting each other. I mean, I don't hide anything from her.
And any situation that you could give to us as a mutually respecting, and there's a big terms for people today.
Yeah. Well, I think very simple things. Ma for me is she's like my best friend. Ma for me is like I can share my secrets with her. She was the first person to know I was in love. She was the first person to know that I wanted to get married to the person that I love. Now these things can only happen, I can only divulge these things if only I trust that person. And I think she's taught me that the way to handle that with my children. The way she's friendly with me, I'm friendly with my kids. The way she gave me space to do my own thing, study what I wanted to study, let me do the way I wanted to lead my life. I think today I'm doing the same thing to my kids. I'm not drawing lines for them. I'm not prescribing to them, hey, go do this, or this is what you need to do. I'm not a parent who would sit with my child, and do his entire assignment for him. I'd rather he go do it, and if he gets well, I'll pat his back. If he doesn't get well, I'll just dust him off and say, let's do it the next time all over again, right? That's the kind of parenting she's brought me with, and that's what I do. My dad, on the other hand, is an entrepreneur. He's a business guy, and from him is probably where I learned all my HR skills, my ability to deal with people, the way I handle people, the way I talk to people, the way I respect people. I think a lot of subconsciously I have borrowed a lot of that from him, and that's what I transfer out at my workplace.
How your parenting molded in your life?
Well, parenting is an art I'm still learning. I have 2 teenage kids at this point, and they teach me every day. It's different. It's rather than me teaching them, they teach me on how to be a better parent each day. I've gone from one stage where I've been a guide to them to today I'm more a friend for them, because that's what a teenager would like. A teenager would like to relate to somebody, trust in somebody whom they think can handle their emotions well, can understand them well. So from a guide, I have transitioned myself to being a good friend at this point. And I'm sure in days to come, they will become my guide. And that's the law of nature. At some point, children become the parent for the parent itself. So it's one of the most beautiful relationships I have enjoyed.
I feel great to be part of today's discussion, and I feel there's so much of learning that we are taking back today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hema. It's been a pleasure knowing you and also working on this assignment for you. Thank you so much for including me.